Benefit cheats, the scourge of Britain. Men and women who think nothing of defrauding the taxpayers. Like 44-year-old Kevin Davis, he scammed the government out of nearly £5,000 whilst working as Baldy the Clown, a children's entertainer. And what about Alan and Lorraine Peters? Along with 3 members of their family, they conned the Treasury out of £130,000 by claiming disability and job seekers allowance whilst working as cleaners. The roll call of shame continues, with fraudsters faking injuries to get their hands on money that they simply did not earn. Observe this road gallery of benefit crooks. These people must be stopped, and new Prime Minister David Cameron has pledged to do just that. He launched an uncompromising crackdown on fraudsters, saying,
"People going out to work hard every day do not pay their taxes so that someone can basically claim it fraudulently. That is not right. It is not fair, and I want to stop it."
Bounty hunters and credit agencies will now be hot on the trail of people who con the system, with tough penalties. This includes jail time for those who break the law. Little tax cheats, big benefit cheats. They're all costing the economy. Why are you not in favour of that same level of scrutiny?
Because there is a very clear fact here, and that is £13 billion is lost in personal tax avoidance at the top, whereas only £800 million is lost through benefit fraud at the bottom. So while we're only dealing with millions of pounds that's lost in benefit fraud, we are dealing with billions of pounds that's lost in tax avoidance at the top.
They prosecute the welfare benefit dodgers, publicly name and shame them. They're on the local newspapers, everybody hears about it. But the people, the really powerful people behind the huge tax evasion, they're allowed to do deals behind the scenes. No one knows what's going on. They've been tax evading for years, which is a criminal offence, but they get away with it.
The scale of Britain's tax gap is staggering, with personal tax avoidance from the wealthy running at some £13 billion.
Rich people avoid tax, poor people evade tax. If you can afford the lawyers and the accountants and the bankers, for these are very expensive, if you can afford it, then you can set up very aggressive tax avoidance systems.
The biggest loss to the Treasury is through businesses. There are different estimates, but the figures are huge.
If we take the situation in the United Kingdom, our own estimates of tax evasion as an annual cost to the Treasury run at £70 billion a year, which means that we would not have to have an austerity package in this country if we could successfully tackle this scale of tax evasion.
The Big Story decided to launch its own investigation on the bosses of the newspapers who name and shame benefit cheats but use expensive accountants to cover up their own tax-avoiding behavior. The Barclays brothers, Sir David and Frederick, are the owners of the Daily Telegraph, the Sunday Telegraph and the Spectator. They have an estimated personal fortune of some £1.8 billion between them. But if you think that gives a handsome chunk in revenue to the taxman, think again. Sir David and Frederick live on their own island in the Channel Islands, but are registered in the tax haven of Monaco. They pay very little in both personal and company taxes through a complex web of offshore accounts and tax loopholes. And what about media mogul Rupert Murdoch? Though a US citizen, Murdoch owns the Times, the Sunday Times and the Sun in the UK. According to an investigation by The Economist back in 1999, it's estimated that Murdoch pays virtually no tax in the UK and the absolute minimum in company tax. In one case, his companies paid 6% corporation tax. The standard rate is 30%. Up-to-date figures are difficult to come by, but due to clever accounting, tax loopholes and the ability to shift funds from one country to another, Murdoch is always one step ahead of the taxman.
And so, who are the real criminals here? Is it benefit cheats at the bottom who are often scrimping just literally to put food on the table, or is it tax avoiders at the top who are avoiding paying their taxes so they can run a yacht, off the coast of Jersey? Tax avoidance at the top should be as much a crime as those who commit benefit fraud at the bottom.
the wealthy elites across the world have simply moved themselves offshore to tax havens en masse. It's happened not just in Europe, but it's happened in America, South America, in Africa and Asia. Virtually all of the world's wealthy elites have now set up themselves offshore to not pay tax. Whether it is strictly legal or illegal doesn't matter. It is fundamentally anti-democratic, it is fundamentally anti-social, and it is fundamentally at the root of the current fiscal crisis facing many countries.
To find out how tax havens like these work, we took a short trip across the channel. We've just arrived in Jersey, and though we weren't able to film inside the airport, I can tell you all the ads we saw were related to financial products, wealth management, asset management, finance. We also saw a lot of these small private planes, clearly for people who want to get in and out of this island fast. Here, money really talks. The first thing you notice about Jersey is just how beautiful it is. The Big Story team were lucky enough to come on a wonderful sunny day when the island could really show itself off. At 5 miles wide by 9 miles long with sandy beaches and idyllic bays, no wonder Jersey was the holiday destination of choice for decades. And it's the weekly auction here at Jersey. It happens every Wednesday. We've already had 2 very satisfied customers. I'm keeping my hands down so I don't end up buying anything, all right?
Thanks, Ronnie. Lot number 3, ladies and gentlemen, a 1995 Chevrolet.
Are you a Jersey lass?
I'm not a Jersey girl, but I actually came over here 36 years ago, so nearly qualify.
What's life like on the island?
Life is pretty idyllic over here. We've got wonderful beaches, and we've got country, we've got town, we've got beach, we've got something for everybody. Love it here.
At 2,250, at 2,300, at 2,300.
You would recommend Jersey highly?
I would recommend it. It's a super place to bring children up.
Mercedes going now. Might keep my hands down for this one as well.
20 long wheelbase. Lot of mileage.
Do you often bump into millionaires? You look like one yourself at the moment, jewellery and all.
Oh, I wish I was a millionaire, but there are a few over here, I believe, yes.
About 140 to 150 at last count. It's estimated that Jersey administers nearly £500 billion in assets. The super rich don't just come for the views. The rate of tax in Jersey is at least half of that in mainland UK at a flat rate of 20%.
They come here, usually having made their money elsewhere, and they negotiate their own tax rates. They come along and say, I will put some of my money, some of my business through Jersey and pay you tax. How much would you like, effectively? And the tax rate is 20% on the first £1 million. I think it's then 5% on the second £1 million and 0.5% on any other millions that come through Jersey.
I'm just going to stop you right there because it seems incredulous what you've just told me. If I'm a wealthy individual, backed up maybe by a company, I can negotiate with the powers that be in Jersey about how much of my money they take.
Indeed, that's the case. That's the case. The cliche has it, only poor people pay tax. The rich manage their tax and decide how much they want to give. It's a voluntary activity.
I'm actually quite shocked by that, to be honest with you.
The really big issue, as far as most of us are concerned, is that these places are very secretive. So you can set up secret structures, offshore companies, offshore trusts, offshore secret bank accounts, and they don't share any information with other countries. Or if they do share information, they put a lot of barriers in the way of sharing information, which makes it really easy to evade tax. This encourages those people to shift their wealth to Jersey and evade tax.